You're listening to
आप सुन रहे हैं
तुम सुनो था
നിങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുന്നത്
ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ
Radio Azim Premji University. Campus Cast.
Hello, this is Akshita, your host for today, and you're listening to Campus Cast. In this episode of Campus Cast, we are going to have the Conversations team with us. This is a team of professional counsellors at Azim Premji University. So let's welcome them.
Hello, my name is Soumitra. I'm one of the counsellors with the team.
Hi, this is Pratik and I'm also a counsellor with the team.
Hello everyone, my name is Faireen and I'm also from Conversations.
So what are we going to talk about? So today we have chosen to speak about myths around mental health, and the next 15 minutes would be just breaking those myths, understanding what goes around it, what's wrong, what's right, and what is it all about.
यार मैं पढ़ता हूँ 1 सेकंड फिर फ़ोन चलाता हूँ फिर बाहर देखता हूँ फिर मैं एनीमे देख रहा हूँ पढ़ाई नहीं हो रहा है यार. आई थिंक आई हैव ADHD.
नहीं, मुझे लगता है तू बाइपोलर है.
These are certain conversations that we have back at hostel or in cafeteria. There are terms being rolled around, right? For example, there are certain set of students or certain set of people who find it easy to roll out terms like on a certain deadline, for example, oh, I'm anxious. Yeah. Oh, this might cause me panic. Oh, I ate too much sugar today. I might have a sugar rush and not able to sleep, and then might lead to certain things. So the jargon is out there, right? Some people are like, yes, we should be sensitive because the world out there is not. So we should be the ones to begin with, talk about it, feel it. But some people say that just because in the name of sensitivity, a minor inconvenience has made us so dependent on the usage of such terminologies that we lose sight of that this is a part of life, right? Feeling a little inconvenienced, facing discomfort is a part of growing, is a part of getting out of your comfort zone and making it out there, right? How do we balance that?
I think the terminology, you raised a very valid point, but I think it is a double-edged sword. Because, a lot of these terms that you're talking about ideally should be only diagnosed by a clinical psychologist or a psychiatrist and has a very specific set of treatment. Maybe it requires medication. At the same time, in mental health, of course, there's a class issue that's there. So there are a lot of people who don't have access to mental health, who don't have access to therapists, clinical psychologists, psychiatrists. And this terminology gives them some kind of vocabulary to express what they're going through. Which is why, as an initial tool, it can be useful. Like if you don't have the word for what you're going through, and if you read what anxiety is, and if it matches somehow, then you can say that it is anxiety. Maybe it's not an anxiety disorder. Maybe it's not to a level where you need medication or where you need a specific set of treatment for that. But also the other aspect being, there's something called a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? We have this. It's an everyday phenomenon. I will not do well in this test. You don't end up doing well in this test because you said it. Your next subsequent set of actions ensure that you don't study or prepare or something. That is one issue with self-diagnosis, where if a person starts saying these things, and in the modern age of internet, we open WebMD or Wikipedia and we start Googling symptoms and oh, does this match? Which is dangerous, I feel. And
Google says cancer to everything.
Brain cancer, yeah.
Yeah.
My head's aching, I have brain cancer.
Yeah, I have swelling here, you have this one cancer.
So once you believe you have a disorder, you might start exhibiting a set of behaviors that comply with that disorder. Because you feel like you are that person. But then you have not talked to a professional on how to go about it. And it's not been confirmed also.
I understand where you're coming from, because a lot of the jargon around is self-prophesized, is self-diagnosed. Because if I think so, most of the people will go and talk to a therapist, they would understand there is nothing majorly bad happening.
Yeah, and as you said, I think self-diagnosis is the new pandemic. Because it's with the advent of whole internet, as he said, and the real culture, people have easy access to knowledge, but that's half-baked knowledge.
Yes.
That's not complete, that's not giving you a full picture, that is just derailing you and misguiding you through things. So it's very important for us in this day and age to be mindful of what we are reading, to be mindful of where we are reading from, and to be mindful of what words we use. I think so that's the new revolution we need to create through platforms like these.
And also what happens with self-diagnosis is you go into the victim mode,
Correct.
right?
Very
The
easily.
victimizing of yourself.
Correct.
Whereas in contrast, when you seek therapy or you seek professional help, as earlier you mentioned, it's more into self-exploration, finding your own strengths, your own identity.
Correct. And that also stems from how we are raised. Like raised as in, not in a wrong way. I'm saying ki how we perceive ourselves. We are always the protagonist in our story.
Yes.
The world always revolves
around us.
you know. So then it automatically gives rise to that, you know, baby doll mein sone di syndrome. Ye duniya pittal di.
Okay.
You know, so the world is always bad. You will always be
Yes,
right.
Yes.
You know, so that's what the self-diagnosis do to you.
And the hero doesn't seek help, right?
Hero will never seek help. Hero is always
Self-sufficient and all equipped and there to conquer.
Even if they're feeling weak inside, that's probably the kind of image they would like to portray or for the others to believe. Yeah.
Yeah. The loner.
the loner,
The loner that gets it
the
all.
Milson Boone, tall, dark, handsome.
But I think the other aspect that you also had raised is therapy is not just for problems, right? It is about also skill development. It is about self-exploration, trying to understand a little bit more about myself. So you're transitioning from college and you're not sure about what career I choose, what to get into. But now you feel like, oh my God, I've already done my UG. It's high time for me to realize what is the kind of job that I need to get into. But I really don't know because I'm not yet sure. Because there was a lot of other things that I was going through at that time. I had a relationship breakup or a family concern and I didn't really have, or whatever reasons. You're not sure about what career you should go into. That can also be a good topic to start therapy with. So you can talk about basically anything and everything that you want to talk about.
It is a very deep relationship. Like, I mean, you're meeting a stranger. You are trusting that the therapist is good or qualified, but essentially meeting a stranger and you're expected to tell very deep things about you, which you probably haven't shared with anyone else. And that's why that relationship needs to be built. It's an emotional and a very deep relationship. We build it over time, which is why, like, I mean, one session also is not a quick fix to whatever issue the person's going through.
So I'll give you an example. People always come with, talking to me about the bird's feather that they saw on the tree. Okay. Then I have to take them from that bird's feather to the bird, to the leaf or the branch that the bird is sitting on, to the trunk of the tree, and then to the roots. It's a very huge and long process, and people really don't even know what they, are going through, or what's the real problem is, or what's the underlying situation in their life is.
So drawing from that only, when you said it's not just about problems, it's not just about when something has gone absolutely wrong, then I knock the doors. It's just about, we are young. We're facing a big world out there.
Oh, yes.
And it's filled with so many opinions, so many loud noises, so many confusions. Sometimes we don't know which voice of ours will get louder than the other.
Right.
It's just go sit with somebody and talk about it.
Exactly.
Right? And it's not somebody who will just tell you, hota hai. Sabke saath hota hai.
Exactly.
But somebody who will actually ask the right questions, take you to the right direction.
If it's happening to you, why is it happening? Let's
right?
talk about that.
Bring in the right perspectives
Correct.
and tell you.
I'll give you a real life example. Like I was in undergrads and I was really feeling overwhelmed. I felt like this is depression because again, self-diagnosis, right?
We all did it actually.
Yeah, we
That's the
all have
wondrous
been
part
through
about
this.
it.
That's like psychology student 101.
101, yeah. And then I go to one of my professors whom I felt I was closer to, and I said, sir, I have this. Pratik, you are a young man. How can you have depression? That was the answer I got. And I'm like, okay, so I really thought at that point that, okay, maybe I'm young and that's why I'm not supposed to have depression. So these kind of things do happen to everybody every minute.
Yeah.
So how do you diagnose, or how do you distinguish between what is sadness, what is grief, what is depression, right? There's as I said earlier also, there's definitely that demarcation of whether you're functional or dysfunctional. Now how do you judge that also? There's clear-cut hopelessness in you.
Yeah.
There's clear-cut helplessness in you when you feel that there's nothing that can help me hereafter. There's a very grim and dark space which I wish for nobody, but it sort of has eating patterns changing. You will either binge eat or you will stop eating at all. There's definitely crying spells that are going on. There definitely loss of interest is one of the major symptom that one can look forward to when they are talking about depression. The things that you were earlier very interested in, and suddenly there's a drop of interest. So that also accounts for depression.
Also, what about escapism?
Like
For example, I've seen my friends, and if they're not in a good mood, they're on a 12-hour binge on Netflix. And there's certainly something hanging on their head.
correct.
Right?
Avoidance.
So it's either that, or it's either sleeping for 16 hours,
Right.
or something like reading one novel after the other if they're a book reader, and just so that I forget about what's happening within my life and I escape
Right.
to some other world, which is
Right. So as I said, this cannot be the only diagnostic point for you, right? It has to be coupled with other things. As I said, probably loss of purpose, loss of self-worth, loss of, all these things which you may face at the same time through this. And this you have to dig deep in, and that I think, again, a professional can do better for you, because at that point you're really not in the space, and that's where the escapism comes in, where you don't know how to deal with
It's a
it.
coping mechanism,
Yes,
right?
you're like, hum nahi kar payenge, hum ja rahe. So you shut it off.
That's a good point that you brought up. Escapism, procrastinating is, I don't know, for some reason in our society it's vilified a lot. It's seen as a personality trait. You're lazy, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. It also leads to a lot of self-judgment. But I think, especially in therapy or otherwise, it's something that's worth exploring. What am I trying to avoid? Why, like, if I know I have an exam tomorrow, why am I not studying and instead I'm watching Netflix? Being self-compassionate and non-judgmental towards ourselves is the first step to therapy. And that's what the therapist will try helping you with. Therapy is more about building something. It's more about strength, gaining skills. And it's not just about removing the unpleasant symptoms.
yeah.
It's not just about removing anxiety. It's about what are you getting instead? What are you building instead? We have this joke in a circle that the only person with no anxiety is a dead person.
Yeah.
True.
Yes.
Everyone has anxiety.
Yes, this dialogue of stop overthinking. Oh my God.
yeah.
Everyone is like, oh, you're overthinking, stop overthinking. I'm like, I got prefrontal cortex. I will overthink.
Exactly.
Yeah, I cannot not overthink. It is there for a reason,
So the fears, the doubts, the unpleasant discomforts will be there,
Exactly.
but maybe I'll become a person who knows how to handle them or balance them instead of harboring them.
Saying that when you have exam stress, think of it as a bow and arrow. There's something called as eustress, there's something called as distress. So for your arrow to hit the target, you need certain amount of tension that, from
Pulls
the
it
string.
back.
Yeah. So that's called eustress. That is the amount of stress you need to push yourself, and you need
And
to
that's healthy.
work. Correct. That's healthy, and that you'll feel palpitation there also. You'll feel rush of blood in your nerves there also. So that's eustress. But distress is when you pull it too hard, it breaks. That breaking point is where you need to seek help.
So the point, as we are trying to convey when to seek therapy, here comes in again. I mean, just think for yourself. Is it too much for me? Am I able to get through this? Would it be better if I talk about it to someone? Just those questions. Ask those questions to yourself. Is it affecting my day-to-day functioning? Is it becoming hard to get out of the bed? Is it becoming hard to indulge in things that I used to like earlier? So those are just probably points where you know that it's a good time to talk.
And in the university, it's free.
So there is a policy, right? Walk-in policy where we can reach you where there's emergency taken. Can you please enlighten us more about it?
Yeah. So most people, I think, don't know, or they feel that they only have to write to us and then wait for their slot to come in and then the process will start. It's not always like that. So in case you have been facing an issue and you're feeling really overwhelmed today, just that moment you have to make sure that you have to come to conversations. There are people who come with their friend, like their friends bring them because they feel that, oh, this
can't
person
do
is
it
in
alone.
a miserable position, and that's when the friends take them to us, because they have never thought of coming. They have never thought that their problem is valid enough or important enough. So that's the thing I'm telling, that you can come any point, any given time. You feel like, of course, working hours,
10
you
to 5,
feel like,
yeah.
you feel
The
like
walk-in
it's
hours.
going really bad and you want to talk, you can always walk in, and any of us who's available at that point, they'll
Address
attend
you.
to you.
Yeah. And where do we knock? Which building? Which floor? Please tell
It's
us.
B5 4th floor conversations. Say after me.
So it's
B5
B5
4th floor conversations.
It was really nice speaking to all of you. And what I can take back from all our talk is that therapy is not just for issues and problems. What I've understood, it is as a venue where you can get to know yourself better. Yeah. And one more point that you brought out is that self-diagnosis can be the first step, but just relying on that is not the full-term solution. And to all the students out there, it's better to seek professional help. And when to seek that help? Maybe you can decide for yourself when things are getting absolutely overwhelming and when you're not able to function properly. Maybe you feel purposeless. And to understand that being self-compassionate and non-judgmental towards ourselves is the first step to therapy. So if you are somebody who has never tried therapy before and would want to, these are some points that might help us. Number 1, let's be absolutely honest, because this will be really helpful. Number 2, let's not be afraid to ask questions. We can ask anything and everything. Number 3, understand it's a process. It will take time. It's not a quick fix. Number 4, if you have stepped into therapy, in case you are planning to discontinue, it is advisable that you talk to your counselor before, and please take a final session because it's absolutely crucial. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to Campus Cast. If you want to be a part of the crew or have any ideas for upcoming shows or just want to say hi, please write to us at campus.radio@apu.edu.in. Thank you.
You're listening to
आप सुन रहे हैं तुम सुनो था
നിങ്ങൾ കേൾക്കുന്നത്
ನೀವು ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ ರೇಡಿಯೋ
Radio Azim Premji University.